Murdered student Henry Novak will meet the Prime Minister today. Number 10 says the private meeting will take place in Downing Street later this afternoon. Earlier today, the family met the Conservative leader who said their courage is extraordinary. Also this lunchtime, the rise of vapes laced with spice, which left one child in a coma.
That drug, it took over my life. It took over my money, it took over my health. Literally not even 2 months after smoking every day, I landed in a coma.
A review into anti-Semitism in the NHS finds some Jewish staff suffer in silence. And
happy?
He sure is. The lifelong England supporter who'll join the players on the pitch for a World Cup warm-up match in Costa Rica.
This is the ITV Lunchtime News with Nina Hossain.
Good afternoon. The family of murdered student Henry Novak will meet the Prime Minister today, Number 10 has said. Sir Keir Starmer is talking privately with the Novaks after days of political rows about whether the police treatment of their son in his final moments was influenced by claims of racism. Today, the Prime Minister has insisted in Britain we are reasonable, tolerant people and encouraged the public to act calmly, as Henry's family have asked. Our political correspondent Shihab Khan is at Downing Street this lunchtime. Shihab, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, exactly that. The family will be meeting with the Prime Minister later this afternoon. They have made it clear that they do not want the murder of Henry to be politicised, and they've called for communities, for different political parties, for different groups to come together to try and build a positive legacy and help to rebuild trust. Now, the Prime Minister was actually asked about it earlier today, and this is what he had to say about it.
Clearly, there are questions that need to be answered in relation to the policing in this case. The IOPC is looking at that. I think we need to let them get on with their job, but we really need to listen to Henry's family, because they're asking us as politicians, as leaders, not to use his case to whip up division, not to cause disturbances. We have to listen to them. They're grieving. They've lost their son.
Now, the family also met with the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, today. She has posted on the social media platform X saying that she wants to respect their wishes and that she is willing to work across party lines to try and build that positive legacy. There appears to be a bit of a dividing line between the government and the opposition, and Reform UK in particular. We heard Nigel Farage bring up Henry Novak's murder at Prime Minister's questions. The Prime Minister responded saying that he was using it for his own political advantage. The Prime Minister has also been very critical of the billionaire Elon Musk, saying that he has been promoting division. So it's quite clear that the priority within government and the opposition is to try and call for calm and to take the tension out of this.
Shihab Khan, thank you. A 12-year-old boy has told ITV how he ended up in a coma after unknowingly taking the drug spice via a vape. Experts say vapes laced with spice are being sold to children via social media platforms and are blatantly and pervasively available. A warning that there are details in the following report by Amelia Beckett that some might find distressing.
Just 12 years old and in a coma because of vapes laced with drugs.
When I really woke up, I'm thinking, how can that thing do that to me? I'm thinking, this little bottle that I bought for tenner has put me in here. Literally a tenner.
Freddie first started vaping at the age of 11. He then tried what he thought was a THC vape, the active ingredient in cannabis. But instead of THC, it was in fact the highly addictive, much stronger synthetic drug, spice.
That drug, it took over my life. It took over my money, it took over my health. Literally not even 2 months after smoking every day, I landed in a coma. And my lung collapsed.
Spice is much cheaper than THC, so drug dealers often swap out the two without telling the buyer. but it can cause serious health problems, including seizures, strokes, and even organ failure.
It's come up red, and that coloration means that it's actually spice.
Professor Chris Pudney has been investigating the prevalence of this in schools, and last year found up to 1 in 4 vapes confiscated contain the drug. Shockingly, many of these were bought through social media.
It's incredibly blatantly and pervasively available on these platforms. It's absolute overt drug dealing.
Chris flagged around 70 of these accounts to TikTok, who eventually did take them down. But when we searched for some pretty common terms linked to vape liquids with drugs in, it was easy to find a number of accounts offering to sell them over the platform. They just keep popping up under different account names. TikTok told us the trade of illegal products is not permitted on TikTok. We remove 99% of the violating content we find before it's reported. As for Freddie, while he doesn't blame social media, without it he says he may never have come across that first spice vape. Amelia Beckett, ITV News.
And if you've been affected by any of the issues raised in Amelia's report, you can find help and advice on our website, itv.com/helplines. New guidance to tackle anti-Semitism in the NHS will be presented to Parliament today. It follows a review by the Labour peer Lord Mann. He says some Jewish patients and staff in the health service feel the need to hide their religious identity and suffer in silence. Caroline Lewis reports.
Welcome to the team. Arriving at University College Hospital in London this morning, the Health Secretary met with staff on the front line of the NHS amid concerns of rising anti-Semitism across the UK, affecting both staff and patients in the health service.
I think what really struck me when I was speaking to some of the staff members today is that it's not just the larger cases of anti-Semitism, the more visible cases that we hear about and speak about in the news. It's also the low-level anti-Semitism in their day-to-day lives.
Next to him is Lord Mann, the man tasked with undertaking an urgent review of anti-Semitism in the NHS. His report found Jewish colleagues were routinely ostracised, while Jewish patients said they were reluctant to seek treatment amid fears of anti-Semitism. 30-year-old Ellie attends hospital twice a week. She says she now hides the fact she's Jewish over fears of repercussions.
I've seen nurses say really awful anti-Semitic things about Jewish people. I've seen hateful graffiti on the bathroom doors. I don't feel safe telling anyone where I'm from, my background, and I don't feel comfortable ordering any kosher meals that they might have available or even that I'm Jewish.
Today, the Department of Health has accepted recommendations put forward in Lord Mann's report. Among them, mandatory anti-racism training, including anti-Semitism, no political symbols worn on NHS staff uniforms, and new staff standards focused on tackling racism. Health leaders have welcomed the report, but say ongoing work is needed.
So this is a really deeply ingrained problem, and it requires every health and social care body to listen to the Mann report, to implement the findings of the Mann report, and to work together to try to tackle the scourge of racism and discrimination.
The agreed recommendations will take time to develop before they can be implemented. But for those who've experienced discrimination, they are changes which can't come soon enough. Caroline Lewis, ITV News.
Well, let's get more from the author of the report, Lord Mann. Thank you very much for speaking to us today. Is there a danger in trying to solve a clearly very serious problem? You may have started to create many more. For example, you have left it up to the NHS to decide what counts as a political symbol. That could cause more division, could it?
I don't think it'll create division. I mean, it's not my role to be prescriptive in micromanaging the NHS. I've set quite a number of very granular, detailed recommendations, around 30 recommendations, to get the NHS back on the right course. And the right course is how the NHS used to be, which is not having politics and politicking interfering with staff relations or with patient care. And that's what's crept in. It's become a much bigger problem in recent times, and I consulted very, very widely across the Jewish community. What I found that was perhaps the most interesting, the most stunning to me, was how many people were prepared to tell me things that they were not going to go public about because not so much they were always scared, sometimes they were scared, but they don't want the target on them, their family, their children, especially families. And so the situation has been rather hidden away. This spotlights it. I also think it's quite straightforward with good leadership that the NHS can turn this round.
Okay. Are you confident that your recommendations published today are not a knee-jerk reaction? They've been published relatively quickly and coincidentally in the same week where anti-racism training for police is under scrutiny.
Well, in fact, last October I was given 6 weeks to do it, and I've taken 7-8 months. I've done it very methodically, very carefully, by talking across the NHS to the institutions and leaders of the NHS in great detail, but also in a very widespread way across the country to the Jewish community. So the government said 6 weeks. I told them very politely, no, this will take a lot longer. It has taken longer. So this hasn't been rushed.
Okay.
This has been carefully thought through on how best to do this.
Lord Mann, if a doctor, if a nurse, if a midwife, if anybody treating somebody, and I mean treating them medically, clinically, because they are Jewish, if they are treating them differently because they are Jewish, is there anything in your report, in your recommendations that would stop them?
Yes, as an example, if someone's lying on a hospital bed about to have an invasive procedure, let's say a camera inspecting them to check that they're okay, and you've got a doctor, a nurse and others around, if any of those people is wearing a political badge that they find threatening or offensive, then at the point of great vulnerability, say someone's putting a camera down your throat to check out your health, possibly life-saving inspection, then that's incredibly disturbing.
No, I understand that. I understand what you're saying regarding that, but if somebody's racist and uses their racism to treat somebody differently, is anything going to change from what you've said? I just want to ask you one quick question.
Those people have no place in the NHS and they'll be sacked.
But we know that sometimes they do exist. The focus for a lot of the debate today has been around political symbols and removing them from the professional environment. What about if a member of staff has a tattoo on display that breaks the rules that you are proposing?
Well, I don't know if they've got a swastika tattoo and that's been shown. I imagine there's going to be quite an issue there. I think the problem that's I've looked at and seen and had evidence on, and lots of evidence, is about the use of political badges. And it's one of the 30 recommendations. There are 29 others there that I've made. It's an important one. I don't need my dentist to be wearing a Free Palestine badge or indeed an I Love Israel badge when they're about to drill my teeth. Thank you very much. And that kind of politicking is not how the NHS has built its strength over the decades, and it's not needed in the NHS. Keep your politics, whatever they are, whether I agree or disagree with you, keep your politics away from the workplace and away from the patient. That's one of the recommendations, and I think a very important one.
Lord Mann, thank you very much for joining us this lunchtime. Thank you. A Labour MP is suing the tech billionaire Elon Musk's AI company after she claimed its chatbot tool Grok was used to create fake images of her in a bikini. Jess Sato said she felt violated when the images appeared on social media without her consent earlier this year. Our political reporter Jasmine Cameron-Chileshi is in Westminster. This is, Jasmine, an unusual move by an MP. What is she hoping to achieve?
So Justice Sato is hoping that this litigation will force tech companies to make changes to their rules when it comes to data protection and privacy. As you say, she's suing the tech company XAI over the design of its AI chatbot tool Grok. Now, she claims that users of Grok created and shared fake images of her, including in a bikini, after she voiced concerns about how the technology was being used to create fake sexualized images of women and girls. Now, I spoke with her this morning about the impact it had on her at seeing some of these images of herself.
Well, you know that they're not real, but they look so real that there's almost a psychological impact. It's unsettling, it's distressing. I think it's really important that nobody is untouchable, that anybody, no matter who they are, has to act within the confines of UK law. And from that perspective, I'm trying to take this case because I believe that Elon Musk and Grok XAI have made decisions that put women and children in harm's way.
Now, we've contacted XAI for comment. Earlier this year, the company changed its policy so that users of Grok were no longer able to edit photos of real people and put them in revealing clothing. The company has also said that they have, quote, zero tolerance for any forms of child sexual exploitation, non-consensual nudity and unwanted sexual content. Now, the backlash over this technology prompted the UK government to fast-track rules banning the creation of non-consensual fake images. But certainly this litigation is really going to spark up the debates within the Labour Party about what more the government can do to protect women and girls online.
Jasmine Cameron Shaleshi, thank you very much. Thank you. Still ahead.
So you do get to do it after all.
Victory for the 6-year-old England fan who gets to join his football heroes on the pitch for a World Cup warm-up match in Costa Rica. First, hundreds of women with late-stage ovarian cancer are set to benefit after the first new treatment for the disease in 2 decades is approved for use in the NHS. Experts have hailed the landmark decision to help women whose cancer has stopped responding to chemotherapy and previously had limited options. Lois Swinnerton is here to tell us more. How does this drug help these patients then?
Well, as you heard there, this has been described as a landmark decision that will give patients an improved quality of life. This is, as you said, the first ovarian cancer treatment to be delivered on the NHS in 20 years. Now, the drug has been approved has been called mirvetuximab soravtansine, and it's been developed by the American pharmaceutical company AbbVie. It'll be offered to patients whose disease is no longer responding to traditional chemotherapy. Now, it doesn't cure the disease, but trials suggest it can prolong a patient's life by around 4 months on average compared to those just receiving chemotherapy. One patient who's been taking the drug since January is Patricia Hill. She was diagnosed 3 years ago.
With the mirvetuximab, you don't get those side effects at all, or much less. It doesn't actually affect your immune system to the same degree, so therefore you're able to do things like go on an aeroplane. You can go to the theatre, you can integrate far more socially with friends and family, and you actually have a far better quality of life, and you've got a lot more energy.
Well, it's a targeted treatment given to patients through a drip for around 2 to 4 hours once every 3 weeks. And it essentially works by attaching to the cancer cell and destroying it. And it means the drug is delivered directly to the cancerous tissue rather than the body as a whole, as with typical chemotherapy treatment, and therefore, as Patricia described there, reducing those side effects. Now, the NHS says that this could benefit around 400 women in this country a year, and now that it's been approved, it's available for patients right away.
Lois Swinnerton, thank you very much. Thank you. And finally, walking out with your footballing heroes feels like a dream for many England fans, but just ahead of the World Cup, for one 6-year-old boy from Blackburn, it's becoming a reality. CJ has been going to games since he was 18 months old, and much to his surprise, he'll be following the 3 Lions across the pond, but he'll be doing more than just sitting in the stands.
We're delighted to confirm that your child has been selected as a player escort for the England v Costa Rica fixture on Wednesday the 10th of June in Orlando, Florida.
So you do get to do it after all.
That smile with just under a week to go until his big day. Our North of England reporter Jonathan Brown has been to meet CJ.
Well, the countdown is well and truly on, and households across the country are getting ready for the World Cup. But the superfans who are here are a different breed. They have been to more than 100 England games between them. They are CJ, who's 6, and his granddad Paul, who has been to 4 World Cups and is embarking on his 5th, as you can see from this mural to his travels here in his spare room. But it's CJ who's the one who's going to be going to Orlando next week as a mascot for the friendly game against Costa Rica. How excited are you, CJ?
Really excited.
Right, okay. And what are you excited to most? What are you excited about most about being a mascot?
I'm really excited because I get to walk out.
Yeah, meet your heroes. Who are there? Who are your favourite players?
Harry Kane, John and Pickford.
Brilliant, and I'm sure they'd be delighted to see you too. And how long have you been in England for?
For my full life.
Your full life? 6 years, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Right, and he's going across to Orlando with his granddad Paul. As we say, you've been to 4 World Cups, this is your 5th. What's it going to be like to go to one of those with CJ?
Oh, it's going to be amazing taking CJ with me. He's always been interested since 2 years old. He comes in here all the time, asks me about things, so taking him will be a fantastic experience for not just me and CJ, the whole family. Brilliant.
And a man of your experience going to see England games as well, you're the perfect person to ask. How do you think England are going to get on this year?
I think the weather, the heat will play a big part. My personal opinion is if we top the group, get to Mexico, if we get out of Mexico, still in the competition, anything can happen with a great chance. But for me, that is the big game, the round of 16.
Well, let's wait and see. So, as we've said, we've got lots of Paul's travels here pictured on the walls, but we've also got a space ready for when CJ comes back from Orlando, and we've also got a frame ready for his adventures over at the World Cup.
Fantastic. Jonathan Brown reporting there from Blackburn with CJ and his granddad. Charlene is here with the evening news at 6:30 from everyone on the Lunchtime team. Bye-bye.